Hey everyone, this is Felicia Malone and I am back to review season 4 of Power. This is episode 1, When I Get Out. So this episode opens with scenes from James St. Patrick getting booked into jail. Last season ended with Angela Valdez, his girlfriend, who's also DA, or she's the attorney for the government, barging into Truth nightclub on his biggest night where he's going to make his biggest deal, and she takes him down. She arrests him for the death or murder of FBI agent Greg Knox. So this season opens, it's the camera's flashing back between him getting booked. He's taken off all his trappings of luxury. The guard's like, take off your cufflinks. You know, he got his rich man cufflinks he has to drop. And then it's flashing back to Tasha saying, you brought this cop into our lives. And then it flashes back to Ghost, and he's taking off, you know, his luxury watch. And flashes back to Tommy, and Tommy's giving him warning. And then, he's taking off all of his stuff. He flashes back to Angela. And in this moment, it's all just hitting him that everything that he had worked so hard for, he had schemed so hard for, he had killed, he had sold drugs for, it's gone just like that. All because of Angela Valdez. So, also during this little montage, we're getting flashbacks of Dean/Milan, who at the season finale, season 3, Tommy and Ghost kills him, gets them out of their lives. The last season finale, Kanan, Jukebox, they had kidnapped Ghost's son Tariq, so we get a flashback of that. We get a flashback of Tommy and the Serbs saying that they're still going to sell drugs at a Ghost club. So it's a lot of good juicy drama rolled up in this episode. Tasha is constantly calling James, and while he's still getting booked, he sees that she's blowing up his phone, so he attempts to answer the phone. The guard, played by Charlie Murphy, rest in peace, he won't let him answer it, and we go to Cooper. So once that scene wraps up, it goes to Sandoval. Sandoval standing on like the Brooklyn Bridge or somewhere. It's dark, and he has the gun he used to kill Greg, because he actually killed Greg, wrapped up in a towel. And before he could throw it in the river, Cooper calls him, and he's like, yeah, they arrested James St. Patrick for the murder of Greg Knox. And Sandoval's like, what, really? So this kind of takes the heat off of him. So he ends up not throwing the gun he used to kill Greg into the river. And he goes, back to his car and drives off. We also find out what happened to Lakeisha. Last season, Dean/Milan tells Tommy he has to kill Keisha. Tasha had been running drugs out of her, unbeknownst to Keisha, had been running drugs out of her wigs/hair salon. And Milan saw that as a loose end or whatever, and he also wanted to test Tommy. Turns out Tommy didn't kill her and her son. He had hid them away. So now he comes back. He's like, yeah, Milan's a done deal. You can go home. We flash back to the club. While all this is going on, right, Dre, the party is still going on at Truth. Now the cops have gone in. They've arrested James St. Patrick. Karen and her, Karen Bassett, the big lady with the deal, the rich lady with the deal with the hotels, clubs. She and her father have left. Dre is, on the phone trying to calm him down. He just tells everyone to keep the party going. So while Tommy is in this little warehouse or whatever, wherever he has Keisha hidden, he gets a call from Tasha, and Tasha's like, Tariq's missing. And Tommy's like, what do you mean Tariq's missing? And she was like, they asked me for ransom. So then that's a whole big thing. So Tommy shows up at the club and asks Dre, who the heck is Slim? Raina had told Tommy that Tariq had been hanging out with a guy named Slim, and that Dre knows all about him. So Tommy confronts Dre, and Dre, he doesn't give up Slim. he basically was like, oh, yo, I'll get him back. But then to like kind of take the heat off him, he tells Tommy that Ghost has been arrested and to tell Tasha. So Tasha still doesn't know that. She knows that Tariq's been kidnapped. She doesn't know Ghost has been arrested. The scene switches to Proctor, who I believe is going to have a larger role, in-depth role this season. It switches to him going home and his girlfriend or it looks like it's his ex-wife based on like the information they give, like they have a custody issue with their daughter. She's getting high and their daughter's hiding in the closet. So Proctor's, he's going through the house, he's upset, and he's basically like, I'm taking my daughter, and she's like, it's my weekend, I'm gonna call the cops, I'm gonna tell the courts you got me hooked on coke. So we see this whole domestic issue that Proctor has that he's trying to manage while managing James St. Patrick's, his hurricane going on in his life. He gets the call from James. He explains that, so James calls Proctor while he's in the midst of this domestic issue. He tells him that Angela arrested him at Truth, and, Proctor's just like, look, I'm going to get you out. Don't say anything. So Proctor calls Tasha to tell her that James has been arrested. So Tasha's just like, what's going on? What did he do? He's like, look, all I can tell you is he was arrested for homicide. And then he slips and ups and tells her Angela's behind it. So Tasha tells Proctor Tariq's missing. And Proctor's just like, don't tell James. And Tasha is like, Proctor's telling Tasha not to tell James. She's like, who are you to tell me what to tell, not to tell my husband? He's basically like, I need him to keep his wits about him. And if he finds out Tariq's been kidnapped and he's in jail, can't do anything about it, he won't last. So then the scene switches up to Jukebox and Tariq. They hear a knock at the door. And Jukebox is looking, everybody's pulling out their guns like, well, yo, who's this? Dre shows up, and he's like, yo, Kanan, where's Tariq? And who are these people? And then Jukebox is like, well, who are you? Well, she's cussing or whatever. But Dre convinces them that with James being arrested, it's least likely that they're going to get their money. This is the wrong time for this, and that he can give them the money by cutting Kanan back into the drug trade now that Milan's out of the loop and Dre has been elevated. But Jukebox is just like, yo, that ain't got nothing to do with our paper. So then they tell him he has to pay them $15K a week. So that's Kanan, Jukebox, and Jukebox Associate, $45,000 a week. That Dre has to come up with in order for them to release Tariq. So Dre is really trying to juggle all of these, all of this stuff because he has to keep his name clean. He can't let Ghost know that he knew about Slim / Kanan being alive. He never told him. He knew about Tariq hanging out with him and he never told him. And so he's really trying to save CYA. So Tariq goes back home and, Kanan had already prepped him, told him what to say, primed him or whatever, and Tariq goes back home and tells his mom it was a joke. He fell asleep while drinking with his friends, and they thought it'd be funny to send her a ransom thing. So Tasha, she's just relieved she has her son back, but Tommy ain't buying none of it. So he pulls Dre to the side, and he's like, yo, who's Slim? What's going on? And then Dre flips it. He's like, well, how about a thank you? I text him. He hit me back. He trusts me. He doesn't trust you. But it's so much going on. Tariq then asks Tasha, where's his dad? So then Raina overhears, and she's trying to explain to them that he got arrested. And Dre is really trying to get out of Dodge. So we switch back to Proctor and James. So Proctor is able to secure a meeting with James St. Patrick, and he basically tells him that Proctor tells James, okay, they got your fingerprints on the outside of the window. They also have your DNA under Greg's nails. So James is like, that part's a lie, but I was there. I was trying to retrieve the button that Ruiz, who was killed last season, was wearing. So Proctor tells him, nobody, no guard, inmate can know that you're Ghost. So you're going to have to chill. You're going to have to be mild-mannered, James St. Patrick, so we can sell this, business owner who was falsely arrested, etc., etc. So that's that. Proctor then tells Tasha she's going to have to come up with at least $2 million legit cash because of the charges against James. If he gets bail, it's going to be hefty. So Tasha's going through all their assets. She goes to the bank. She realizes that for Truth Nightclub, James bet everything on black. He put all their money into the club that now Angela totally blew up his spot. So there's a note in the cash deposit box saying, "Sorry, Tasha, I'll put it back." And this note is just so indicative to the entire relationship of Tasha and Ghost. She is always holding him down. She's always getting caught with the short end of the stick, and what she gets in return is a sorry from Ghost. And so she literally had a piece of paper instead of the cash that she was so dependent on that says sorry from Ghost. We find out through her trying to get the money that they don't own the apartment they live in, they rent it. He doesn't own the building that Truth Nightclub is in, they rent that. She finds that necklace, that exorbitant necklace he purchased for Angela, and Angela had given back to him. So all of this just adds insult to injury while, Tasha is trying to, hold him down. So, Keisha visits Tasha at her apartment, and Tasha's like, "I've been trying to call you," and she's basically was like, Tommy told her not to tell her that he hit her from Milan. So she's like, "I was just upset with you and I needed some time to chill." So Tasha's just like, Ghost has been arrested, and she's like, "It's like a nightmare I can't wake up from." So the camera slows in slow motion, and we see the camera pan to the elevators because they hear the elevator's doors chime. And what is it but Angela, all of the detectives, and they have a search warrant for the house, and they begin to raid Tasha's house. So speaking of a nightmare, the nightmare continues. So Keisha is, she's all like ride or die. She's like, "Oh, I'll kick Angela's, right now." And Tasha's just like, "I appreciate it, but chill." So Angela and Tasha have words, and in front of one of the detectives, Tasha was just like, Angela, they went to another separate room, and Angela was like, "Well, he was sleeping in this room." And Tasha says, "Well, I was afraid he'd bring bed bugs from your apartment." So she just basically blasting her in front of her colleagues, letting them know that she was sleeping with her husband, the suspect, in this whole thing. So I really don't even see how they're going to make these charges stick, seeing that Angela brought them up and they have such this love triangle going on. It just implicates her too. And it's also something that Cooper brings up later in the season. He's like, when Angela wants to be first chair on the case, he's like, all he has to do is bring up your past with St. Patrick, and it's over. You're going to burn yourself while trying to take him down. So we have a little bit of a little conflict with Dre and Julio. Julio comes in with the prostitute girl, saying that that's his girlfriend, introduces her to Dre. Dre's like, "Why are you bringing up chicks to show her my face?" He's like, "'Cause you're going to hire her." So Julio basically thinks he's in charge because Tommy placed him, elevated him to a distributor and not Dre. And Dre was like, "Well, Ghost put me in charge." Well, Ghost is arrested. So, there's this power struggle between what Ghost wants and what Tommy wants. So I know this is going to lead to some conflict in the future. They just gave us a little snippet in the beginning. So here comes ride or die Tasha. She goes to visit Ghost, and she continues to hold him down. That's what she does. So she's basically like, her face kind of drops. You see that she's in shock to see him in the orange jumpsuit. He doesn't look like himself. He seems a little, defeated. But she gets her game face on, and she's basically like, "I tried to get the money for you, but there is no money." So he's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, as usual." And then he gets an idea. He's like, "Get the money from Dean." Well, Dean is Milan and Milan is dead. So Tasha has this blank stare in her face like, what are you talking about? He's like, get a refund from Dean. Get the money back from Dean. I gotta go. And so that's how it ends. So we see her talking to Tommy next, and they're like in a car smoking marijuana or whatever, and they're trying to decode what Ghost had told her. And they finally come up with Milan, how he got introduced into their lives, if you remember back from season 3, is that he was the head of the security firm. So Ghost needed security to protect him from Kanan and his he just needed security for all of that. And the security company was a front for Milan. He really was trying to infiltrate Ghost's outfit and take over it. So Ghost had paid his security firm, all of this money, and then he basically has to convince Patar, who is Milan's associate, that Tommy's now, hooking up with, the connect for, to give them back the money. So Tommy figures out that's what Ghost was trying to tell Tasha. So he meets up with Patar, and he has to tell him, he convinces him that if Ghost still goes down, it's just a slippery slope down the rabbit hole before the cops get to Milan, get to a motive, get to, the whole Serbian outfit. So Patar tells him, I'll get you your money. Well, all of that doesn't really matter, because when they get to the bail hearing, bail gets denied. So James St. Patrick is going to be in jail for a while. The episode ends with Charlie Murphy, who's playing the prison guard, and another prison guard. They're antagonizing James, and then they're like, oh, he's resisting arrest. So they detach him from all the other prisoners as they're leading them back to their rooms, and they lead him down a hall into an area where there are no other people. They handcuff him, and the scene ends with them just beating the crap out of him with batons. So when I get out, who knows when he's going to get out, but I know that I'll be tuned in watching. This was a great season opener. It wasn't a whole lot of bang bang shoot 'em up, but it was enough seeds dropped to you want to see, okay, what are they cooking up in the next couple episodes. One other thing, they've introduced a new character, John. He is the new prosecutor. He's taking first chair on the James St. Patrick case. While they're in the meeting, he tells Angela Cooper that he's going to be first chair, Sandoval's going to be second chair, and he basically drops egg on Angela's face and tell her she's out because of her compromised situation. So stay tuned for my reviews. I'll be back next Sunday with episode 2. Please, please, please drop a comment. Talk to you guys later. Bye.